ago, I remember you saying, like, oh, I have this idea. Like, I want to do a YouTube channel, and it's going to be Dead Dad's Kitchen. So what is it?
So I think back then it was, like, in its very, very infancy of an idea where I was, like, I had the recipe for it. I had a dead dad. I had a need for attention, validation. I had a love for food, and my dad had a love for food also. And so, like, it was always a thing I was kicking around. And then, I mean, I've gone through breakups, I've gone through moves, I've gone through friendship breakups, which I think are much harder than regular breakups. Mm-hmm. And, like, all this stuff kind of culminated into me being in this place in my life where I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I know I have these passions that I've never really gotten to kind of, like, explore, and I have a need to do it in front of people. So it sort of, like, worked out into this really perfect thing, and I also had these perfect friends in my life and still have these friends. And, like, you guys are such a big part of that, too. Like, I have these inspirations of, like, these strong women who are so funny and so good. Don't laugh, you bitch.
I'm just thinking back, like, because we used to record.
She's laughing at me.
We would record with you two in that closet at Pacers with no air conditioning.
Oh, my God. I was so happy I left that summer.
The sweat that, like, we all sweat together. Like,
and it was right across the street from Trader Joe's, so AJ and I would always be like, do you want to, like, go get a water or something just so we could be in Trader Joe's as AC?
I was just trying to see what inspiration you garnered from that. Like, you should always work in an AC studio.
What sparked your creativity there? Was it the hot?
It was the hallucinations that I got
Honestly,
from that.
like, this is every fucking thing I don't want. Here's where I don't want to be in 5 years.
Well, I had these, like, such funny, wonderful, powerful women, and, like, Gabby and I were getting super close at the time, and, like, she's one of my best friends now, and my best friend Juliet, also, she's a singer-songwriter, and I apparently don't want you to ever see this.
Move this way.
And so I just have all of these people in my life that were, like, so ready and so willing to help and, like, to be creative and, like, play around with me. And so I was just like, Dead Dad's Kitchen, funny name, I hope. And it just kind of worked. It just culminated into this really perfect thing that we filmed the first episode in March, and then I got, it didn't go up until Father's Day, June 14th of this year. And I don't know why I was sitting on it for so long. I think I just, like, didn't have the money, and I didn't have the editor, and I didn't have all this stuff. And then it just worked, and I was like, I'm going to fucking do this, because I love doing it, and also, like, I think it's going to be a good thing.
Now, did your friend write the intro song?
Yeah.
The intro is so cute of Irene.
She is amazing.
Playing with food, and she sings, and you drink wine. It's so cute.
Thank you. I love the intro. It was such a cool story. Juliet and I have been, like, super, super, super tight for 10 years. And it's funny because in DC, I was, like, in this really horrible abusive relationship.
Yes,
I don't know if you guys remember.
Did you ever talk to him? Yeah.
Like, you guys were the only, like, shining light in my life in DC. And so it was, like, a very hard time in my life because of that person. And so I would talk to Juliet on the phone every morning for, like, 10, 15, because she was driving to a job she hated. I was in a relationship I hated. So every morning we'd talk for, like, 30 minutes, then I'd hop on the subway and go to work. And so her and I have been so close for so long, and she's this unbelievably talented songwriter, and she's a great singer and musician as well. But songwriting's, like, her thing. And so I texted her one day and was like, I'm starting a cooking show called Dead Dad's Kitchen. I want you to write the theme song. And she was like, oh my God, okay, perfect. Like, she's always been so supportive. And she was like, what do you want it to be about? And I gave her, like, 3 things. It was like, I think it'd be funny if it said something like this, something like this, something like this. She was like, okay, cool. And I was expecting to, like, in a week, she'd be like, how does this sound? How does this sound? And, like, send me samples of shit. Right. And the next text I got from her after, like, okay, great, was the finished song.
Wow.
that you hear in the episode today.
And, okay, so on the bi-weekly show, do you guys always just make recipes that your dad loved, or you just basically make a recipe that your guest enjoys and kind of honor your dad through food?
So it's sort of a mix of both. I try to do recipes that my dad loved and made a lot with the guests, like correlating to what they would like. So like if AJ came on and we did like a Kourtney Kardashian thing, I'd do like a classic like Frank salad that's like super boring, but we would kind of like hype it up a bit and make it better.
Spruce it up.
Yeah, exactly. And so I always try to stick to a dad recipe, but he was only around for so long, so I can't like have them forever. I can't do a multitude of recipes because there were only like 15 or 20 that I totally remember.
Right.
And so sometimes it's a recipe I love that he liked when I made it, or sometimes what I'm super excited about is I have a buddy, Devin, who his mom is dead, and he has a podcast called Yes and My Mom's Dead. It's like an improv comedy podcast
Wow.
I like
about
that.
comedians with dead parents. And so he came on the show. It's very niche.
I was gonna say,
It's a
niche
thin
is
Venn
the keyword.
diagram.
Comedians, improvs, dead parents.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
We're right in the middle.